On this week's edition of The Left Bench TV, a struggling Maryland team upsets a top 10 opponent.
A closer look at some of Maryland football's most timeless homecoming traditions.
And one club team at Maryland bringing something new to College Park. The Left Bench TV starts now.
Chilly, and the leaves have finally started to fall here in College Park as Maryland's teams push towards the postseason. Welcome to another episode of the Left Bench TV. I'm Zach Solon.
And I'm Brendan Hartlove. The Maryland men's soccer team has had a disappointing season by its standards, and we're at risk of missing the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2000. The team's message was simple. They needed to start winning games. But that's easier said than done when number 7 Denver comes to town. The Terps got off to an early start when Chase Gasper drops an absolute dime onto the head of Paul Bin and into the back of the net, giving Maryland just the lead in the 5th minute. Denver had a few chances of their own, but nothing to trouble Maryland goalkeeper Dane St. Clair. Donovan Pines was an absolute rock in the defense, making several big plays, including this sliding block. The Pioneers would come very close to tying the game, but Maryland was able to hold on for the 1-0 upset over the number 7 team in the nation.
Chase whipped in a great ball, and somehow I got my head on it. I usually don't score headers, so it was kind of an odd feeling, but yeah, it was just a great ball in, and I got my head in the right place at the right time.
As a team, our confidence is rising on the attacking side of the ball, and I think Paul is a good example of seeing that.
The current men's soccer senior class has made a big impact on the program throughout their tenure. Friday night against Ohio State marked possibly one of the final times these players take the field at Ludwig. Our Reese Levin has more.
6 seniors, 3 NCAA tournament appearances, 3 Big Ten trophies, and a lot of memories.
It's definitely emotional, you know. It's kind of like the last ride of the boys, but you know, it's a great feeling. I mean, without a doubt, 2 goals is special to me, but I think without the team's performance overall, that I wouldn't have been able to do that.
It was senior night for the Maryland men's soccer team Friday night against Ohio State.
I'm delighted with this great performance on this special night celebrating a special group of seniors. We're led by seniors throughout, not only by the goals of Amar and Sebastian, but the incredible play of all 6 tonight that came into the game. So many positives, it's hard to mention all of them.
Maryland scored 5 goals and shut out the Buckeyes, with 3 of the goals coming from the senior class. 4 incredible years in College Park for this group, tallying 46 wins so far, and this team and the crew are looking for more.
Score 5 goals in a game, that's huge. So we're looking to keep building on this. Huge win on Denver against Denver, huge win tonight, and now just focused on Penn State and hopefully pulling another big win.
It'll be a tough road ahead for the Terps, but they seem to be clicking at the right time behind an incredible senior class. For the Left Bench TV, I'm Reese Levin.
The team will wrap up the regular season with a home game against Penn State Tuesday night before heading to Ann Arbor to take on number 18 Michigan. Maryland's tournament hopes rest on these last 2 games and their performance in the Big Ten tournament.
Maryland football traveled to Iowa City this past Saturday to take on the 19th ranked Hawkeyes. The Terps were crushed 23-0 and shut out for the first time this season. However, they did get to take part in one of the best traditions in college football, the Wave. The Wave began in 2017, and it is sure to bring a smile to your face. At the end of the first quarter, the players all stop where they are on the field and look up to the University of Iowa's Stead Family Children's Hospital and wave hi to the kids. The patients and their families get the chance to watch the Iowa football games from the top floor of the hospital called the Press Box, and the Terps were able to say hello this weekend as well. A really heartwarming tradition that's making so many very happy. And for some more positivity, Brendan, the Terps secured an impressive 34-7 home victory over Rutgers the previous Saturday, and that was actually homecoming. And you had a chance to go down to Capital One Field and check out some of the homecoming festivities?
I did. It was a pretty cool experience to be down on the field for some of the timeless traditions of homecoming football. Tradition runs deep for Maryland football fans, from the sound of keys on 3rd down to the Maryland fight song. And of course, the coveted flag drop. Maryland pride is always on display. But on homecoming weekend, before the Terps took on Rutgers, there was an extra buzz in the air. A flyover at Maryland Stadium opened the game. And later on, the pilots were recognized on the field, including Lieutenant Todd Gibson, a University of Maryland graduate, class of 2001. The blast from the past continued at halftime, and the mighty sound of Maryland was joined on the field by alumni to perform a medley of throwback hits. Some of the best athletes to wear the red and black retook the field in College Park once again. Former Maryland letter winners were welcomed back, representing the long line of successful Terps in athletics. The game was a success for Maryland, and so was homecoming weekend, as tradition brought together Terps of the past, present, and future.
The Maryland field hockey team finished their regular season with a 16-2 record, securing the Big Ten regular season championship along the way. Our Annabelle Janssens talked to field hockey analyst Dominic Gugliotta to discuss this historic team.
Here at the Field Hockey and Lacrosse Complex with Dom Gugliotta, I'm Annabelle Janssens. So Dom, the Terps have been struggling on the road lately, dropping 2 games in the past 2 weeks. How can they improve?
They can improve both offensively and defensively. They've had a couple lapses on both sides. Specifically defensively, they've let a couple other teams get more shots on Sarah Holiday. And also offensively, they just haven't gotten as many shots on goal as they would like. And like they did earlier in the season, they were really getting a ton of shots and getting a lot of goals. So they need to just get more shots on net and stop shots on net defensively.
Right, and in the recent game against Virginia, they were without 2 players. How did that affect that game?
Yeah, they were without Nika Lorenz and Sophia Giesemann, who are 2 huge players for this team. Nika provides such great defense and also offense. She scored several goals throughout the season, and Sophia's just solid. She's just solid throughout the season.
Going into postseason play, how can the veteran leadership help the team?
Yeah, Maryland's got great leadership throughout the season. They've gotten it from Lene Gonzalez and Bodil Kos. Bodil's just a sophomore, but she's been very sound defensively for Missy Maharg. And Lene has been fantastic offensively. She's arguably had her best year at the program. So going into postseason play, the leadership is definitely there, and I think they'll be fine with that.
Thanks, Dom. Zach, back to you.
Missy Maharg and her squad now await their seeding for the Big Ten tournament as they continue their quest for an 8th national championship.
The volleyball team has played its last 2 matches on the road, and after they fell to number 17 Purdue on Friday, the Terps took down Indiana on Sunday in straight sets. Erica Pritchard, Raynell Jones, and Katie Myers all hit over 300, and Maryland currently sits at 4-6 in the Big Ten, the quickest the Terps have gotten to 4 Big Ten wins since entering the conference. And while volleyball got the win in Bloomington, women's soccer couldn't get it done against Indiana at home. They lost 1-0 on Sunday to end their season. They finish at 4-10-5 on the year.
Like I mentioned, the weather has been getting cold here in College Park, and that means that winter sports are just around the corner. The Maryland men's basketball team has been busy practicing, but last week on Media Day, junior Anthony Cowan shared his thoughts about the changes from last year's season to this one.
I think a lot has changed. I mean, obviously last year it was injuries, a big part, but this year I think our offense is just flowing really well, and on defense end, I think we have a lot more bodies, we have a lot more length.
2 Maryland freshmen were also given some preseason honors. First, Aaron Wiggins was named to the Julius Erving Award watch list, and big man Jalen Smith was named to the watch list for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award.
Zach, lots of honors already before play even starts, but the upcoming season is an honor of its own. Men's basketball is going into their 100th season, and they kick things off with the Midnight Mile. Maryland students joined the team and took to Kehoe Track to run 1 mile, a tradition started by former coach Lefty Driesell in 1971. In September, Lefty was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame's newest class, and in his honor, the Midnight Mile was resurrected. Players ran 4 laps around the track and had some fun with fans ahead of their first exhibition game next week on October 30th.
On the professional side of sports, the NBA opened this week, and 3 former Terps are making an impact on and off the court. Former Maryland basketball stars Alex Len and Kevin Huerter have been coming up big for the Atlanta Hawks. Sunday night, Len had 16 points, while Huerter added 9 points and 10 rebounds as the Hawks took down the Cavaliers for their first win of the season. Also, former Maryland basketball player and WNBA star Christy Tolliver made her debut as an assistant coach for the Washington Wizards last week. The 2006 NCAA national champion is the first active WNBA player to work as an assistant coach in the NBA. Brendan, those pro Terps are definitely making some highlights in their leagues, but some Terps also made some highlights this week as well.
Yeah, a lot of great plays, and we tried to narrow them down to 5 for our top 5 plays of the week. We start with football. Maryland Stadium, Kasim Hill finds Tavon Jacobs in the back of the end zone, extending Maryland's dominance over Rutgers, one of the many touchdowns that day.
On to the Ludwig pitch for number 4. Chase Gasper had 3 assists on senior night, setting a program record for assists in a game. That first one going to Sebastian Elney, and this one the secondary assist, setting up the goal for Amar Sadich.
A great night for Gasper, but he wasn't done yet. His 3rd assist on the day takes us to our number 3 play, the header from Donovan Pines. The big man gets up there to head in his first goal of the season, and you can see how much it means to him and his teammates.
Back to the gridiron for number 2. Ty Johnson, watch this one. A 65-yard touchdown run all the way to the house. That one gives him the score. Later in that game, he would move into 4th place on the Terps' all-time total yards list.
In your top play of the week, remember this one? The great ball in to Paul Bin, the game winner over number 7 Denver. Maryland with the upset. We stick at the pitch for your Terp of the week in Amar Sadich, the senior captain, getting it done on senior night. He would lead the Terps to a 5-0 victory, his first goal there from the edge of the area, and he would later get his 2nd goal of the day, a great left-footed strike from the edge of the penalty box. And, of course, 2 goals on your senior night. That's good for a Terp of the Week award.
All right, Brendan, so we have hit all the major sports here in College Park, but there is another team that is just as intense as the others, and our Noah Gross found out about this team this past weekend.
Between these lines,
it almost feels like you're going to war till a certain point.
anything can happen.
It's a different sport. It's you used to grow up watching football, baseball, soccer, all that stuff, and it's just different. It's not something you see every day.
Rugby. It may seem a little bit foreign to some, even those that have been around it.
I've come a long way. I will still say he's been playing for about 4 or 5 years now, and there's still stuff that I have to ask him after every game. You know, what happened with that play, or why did the whistle blow? So I'm still learning.
And for others, well, they may be better off as fans.
This is way too physical for me. I'm not built for the sport at all. I would get hurt immediately.
At Maryland, when the club rugby team plays, it is a full community event. Families all come and enjoy themselves.
Rugby is a very communal sport. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody treats each other like their family. It's just one big family. We all get along. It's amazing. Spend a lot of time together.
For the Left Bench TV, I'm Noah Gross.
And Zach, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I have what it takes to play rugby, but it's nice to see some of the non-varsity sports getting attention here on campus.
I mean, we've seen a lot of different sports, rugby, Quidditch, even log rolling. Definitely a lot of sports that I think you and I would really like to try one day. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of the Left Bench TV. Be sure to follow all of our coverage of Maryland sports on Facebook and Twitter at The Left Bench.
And be sure to check out our news coverage on our website, theleftbench.com. For Zach Solon and our entire TLB TV crew, I'm Brendan Hartlove. Thanks for watching.